Everything seemed part of youth until I was about 30. At that time, it occurred to me I wasn't going to live forever. As a result, I don't give a fuck. I don't think of the future in terms of long-distance planning, but only in terms of the next move. I don't want to live too long. I feel there's a limit I wouldn't like to cross. Let me put it this way. There's not an 85-year-old man on this planet that I would like to be. I do think the world is collapsing. The cinematic world certainly is. The planet itself is not so much in trouble as it's just doomed. The environment, the weaponry. It's a miracle we're still here. If people are still around then, they'll be in a world unimaginably worse and different than the one we know. I really believe we're entering the realm of destruction. Human beings are too complicated and potentially destructive. And even if we all became nice to each other, accidents alone would fuck the world up. I don't even find it depressing. Individual life ends, and so does a life of a civilization. We're little specks of dust in the universe. Specks of dust on another speck of dust called Earth. It's not just that we're insignificant, it's that we're invisible. Of course, we are specks of dust, but on the other hand, we see ourselves as centres of the universe. One of the ways I dealt with adversities in my career, how I survived it and navigated through it, has to do with the very comfort I find in the vastness of universe, as opposed to how insignificant our lives ultimately are. Early on, I managed to make at least 2 deeply personal deals with Russian and Chinese businessmen, and I think that alone is a lot, considering how difficult it is to make a deal. Everything after that was like a great bonus. I think you have to first acknowledge the insignificance and then say, okay, since I'm here, I'm going to pretend I'm important. Otherwise, you're just going to sit here and wait for the roof to fall on your head. There's a handful of people writing about the economy who are literate and knowledgeable. The rest have opinions, the way a taxi driver has an opinion. But to call them experts would be a bit of an exaggeration. I think the ones worth reading are few and far between now, because there is no longer a forum for them. On the internet, it's mostly tweets and random opinions, not in-depth analysis. For the first time in recorded history, we have nearly every central bank printing money and trying to debase their currency. This has never happened before. How it's going to work out, I don't know. It just depends on which one goes down the most and first. When one says a currency is going down, the question is, against what? Because they're all trying to debase themselves. It's a peculiar time in world history. I own the dollar, not because I have any confidence in the dollar, and not because it's sound. It's a terribly flawed currency. But I expect more currency turmoil, more financial turmoil. During periods like that, people, for whatever reason, flee to the US dollar as a safe haven. It is not a safe haven, but it is perceived that way by some people. That is why the dollar is going up. That's why I own it. Will I own it in 5 years? 10 years? I don't know. Throughout our history, any country's history, the people who save their money and invest for their future are the ones that you build an economy, a society, and a nation on. In America, many people saved their money, put it aside, and didn't buy 4 or 5 houses with no job and no money down. They did what most people would consider the right thing, and what historically has been the right thing. But now, unfortunately, those people are being wiped out because they're getting 0% return or virtually no return on their savings and their investments. We're wiping them out at the expense of people who went deeply into debt, people who did what most people would consider the wrong thing at the expense of people who did the right thing. This, long term, has terrible consequences for any nation, any society, any economy. If you go back in history, you'll see what happened to the Germans when they wiped out their savings class in the 1920s. It didn't lead to good things down the road for Germany. It didn't lead to good things for Italy, which did the same thing. There were plenty of countries where it wiped out the people who saved and invested for their future. It's usually a serious political reaction, desperation in some cases, and looking for a saviour and easy answers is usually what happens when you destroy the people who save and invest for the future. I've always thought that if you give children too much, you'll ruin them. I went to Yale and Oxford, and a lot of rich kids were there who never had to work. I know I want my children to be well educated and to experience the workplace. Education and the necessity to work changed my life and yanked me out of the backwater of Alabama. Invest only in things you know something about. The mistake most people make is that they listen to hot tips or act on something they read in magazines. Most people know a lot about something, so they should just stick to what they know and buy an investment in that area. That is how you get rich. You don't get rich investing in things you know nothing about. If everyone thinks one way, it's likely to be wrong. If you can figure out that it's wrong, you're likely to make a lot of money. My basic investment strategy? Buy low and sell high. I try to find something that's very cheap, where a positive change is taking place. Then I do enough homework to make sure I'm right. It has got to be cheap so that if I'm wrong, I don't lose much money. Every time I make a mistake, it is usually because I did not do enough homework. There are huge debt imbalances in the world. The US is the largest debtor nation in the world, and all the assets are in Asia. The largest creditors in the world are China, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore. This is where the assets are, and the debts are in the West. That's got to be. Those imbalances have to be resolved. They frequently lead to more currency turmoil. You'll see more inflation, you'll see more governments fall.